Number 1 of Cottage Economy. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Philippa. Cottage Economy, containing information relative to the brewing of beer, making of bread, keeping of cows, pigs, bees, ewes, goats, poultry, and rabbits, and relative to other matters deemed useful in the conducting of the affairs of a labourer's family, to which are added instructions relative to the selecting, the cutting, and the bleaching of the plants of English grass and grain for the purpose of making hats and bonnets, and also instructions for erecting and using ice-houses after the Virginian manner. By William Cobbett. Number 1. Paragraphs 1 to 19. Introduction. To the labouring classes of this kingdom. Throughout this little work I shall number the paragraphs, in order to be able at some stages of the work to refer with the more facility to parts that have gone before. The last number will contain an index, by the means of which the several matters may be turned to without loss of time, for when economy is the subject, time is a thing which ought by no means to be overlooked. The word economy, like a great many others, has in its application been very much abused. It is generally used as if it meant parsimony, stinginess, or niggardliness, and at best merely the refraining from expending money. Hence misers and close-fisted men disguise their propensity and conduct under the name of economy, whereas the most liberal disposition, a disposition precisely the contrary of that of the miser, is perfectly consistent with economy. Economy means management, and nothing more, and it is generally applied to the affairs of a house and family, which affairs are an object of the greatest importance, whether as relating to individuals or to a nation. A nation is made powerful and to be honoured in the world, not so much by the number of its people, as by the ability and character of that people, and the ability and character of a people depend in a great measure upon the economy of the several families which, all taken together, make up the nation. There never yet was, and never will be, a nation permanently great, consisting for the greater part of wretched and miserable families. In every view of the matter, therefore, it is desirable that the families of which a nation consists should be happily off, and as this depends in a great degree upon the management of their concerns, the present work is intended to convey to the families of the labouring classes in particular such information as I think may be useful with regard to that management. I lay it down as a maxim that for a family to be happy they must be well supplied with food and raiment. It is a sorry effort that people make to persuade others, or to persuade themselves, that they can be happy in a state of want of the necessaries of life. The doctrines which fanaticism preaches, and which teach men to be content with poverty, have a very pernicious tendency, and are calculated to favour tyrants by giving them passive slaves. To live well, to enjoy all things that make life pleasant, is the right of every man who constantly uses his strength judiciously and lawfully. It is to blaspheme God to suppose that he created man to be miserable, to hunger, thirst, and perish with cold, in the midst of that abundance which is the fruit of their own labour. Instead, therefore, of applauding happy poverty, which applause is so much the fashion of the present day, I despise the man that is poor and contented. For such content is certain proof of a base disposition, a disposition which is the enemy of all industry, all exertion, all love of independence. Let it be understood, however, that by poverty I mean real want, a real insufficiency of the food and raiment and lodging necessary to health and decency, and not that imaginary poverty of which some persons complain. The man who, by his own and his family's labour, can provide a sufficiency of food and raiment, and a comfortable dwelling-place, is not a poor man. There must be different ranks and degrees in every civil society, and indeed so it is even amongst the savage tribes. There must be different degrees of wealth. Some must have more than others, and the richest must be a great deal richer than the least rich. But it is necessary to the very existence of a people that 9 out of 10 should live wholly by the sweat of their brow, and is it not degrading to human nature that all the 9/10 should be called poor, and what is still worse, call themselves poor, and be contented in that degraded state? The laws, the economy or management of a state may be such as to render it impossible for the labourer
Sample complete. Ready to continue?